What exactly is IEP?
It's an abbreviation for Individualized Education Plan.
Right.
As the name suggests, we make plan according to the need of each child individually. So we see what is the requirement of the child, what is the present level of performance of the child. We go through the assessment, we go through the requirement why the child needs a different IEP. Based on that, we create a systematic curriculum, goal based curriculum, which will help the child to learn in a special school.
In your IEP program, what is the involvement of the parent?
I find that very nice. That is the reason for selecting special school. Now, when he goes to the school, he has to sit. They tell us he's having sitting. So first our focus is now that is an issue. Let's work on that. So now 1 week goes. Then they have this very nice system which I really like. In the diary they do write this was done. Whenever he comes from the school, he is so excited and he is so happy now that we forget everything. Just as that smile and that thing. So we always feel that we have done a good decision.
You started education for Vivan. So did you try the mainstream school first? Or did you directly just go for a special school?
Now the main reason that I shifted to a special school was because I wanted my child to be happy. And I definitely want my child to be good in academics too. That's my wish. My child, he needs inclusion and rest will follow. And the other thing is also about safety. Because as they say, these special teachers, they are quite trained.
So, welcome both of you today to the Dolly Show. And this is what makes the Dolly Show unique. We have our professional, Manisha, and we have our parent, Kamaishi. And welcome both of you. We'll be having a very interesting discussion about special education, special schools, and IEP. So it's going to be really interesting and lots of myths that we will be bursting, lots of newer things that we will be learning today. So let's start with Manisha ma'am. Yes, Manisha ma'am is a special educator. And my first question to you would be, what exactly is IEP?
When we say IEP, it's an abbreviation for Individualized Education Plan.
Right.
As the name suggests, we make plan according to the need of each child individually. So we see what is the requirement of the child, what is the present level of performance of the child. We go through the assessment, we go through the requirement why the child needs a different IEP. Based on that, we create a systematic curriculum, goal-based curriculum, which will help the child to learn in a special school. So when I say an IEP, it would not just involve the academic achievements that the child has to fulfill, but apart from that, the fine and gross motor development, the language development, the social skill development, all of those things will be included, but it is specialized as per the need of the child.
Okay. So you mean to say it's a holistic approach and holistic development of the child, and it is covered in IEP. Perfect. I would love to know your journey, ma'am. And first and foremost, how was your child diagnosed? Let's hear that from you.
Actually, I'm Kamaishi Singhu here, and thank you for calling me on this show. I would love to share my story because our child was born during the COVID. Okay. So it was we were very happy when he was born because after so much of trauma and everything, he was born. So we were very lucky that he was born. And it was the happiest moment in our family. And to be honest, our child was very, very easy to handle because he didn't show any aggression, nothing. He used to just sit in one corner and he used to enjoy. Whether it be sleeping, it be eating food, anything, nothing, no trouble at all. We were so happy. But one day, my nephew came and told me, all good is not always all good. There is something. Why isn't he responding? A 1-year-old guy should start looking at people and you are his mom, right? So why is he not giving eye contact to you? So I, being an autistic, I being a mother, I was like, no, what are you talking? It's okay. And one day I just sat and I was looking at the videos, and it was quite visible that he was not showing an eye contact. So the moment the eye contact is not there, that's a big, big red flag. So for people who are looking for a red flag, the main thing is कि if there is no eye contact, please do look. Then we just went to the doctor and we had diagnosis, and they said it's autism. 1-2 days all of us took to accept it, and then our family, we just created a group that Vivan rocks, and we wanted ki our only goal was Vivan, Vivan and Vivan, and we assigned duties. Like my sister, she's very good in handling food and all that, so she was assigned the duty ki the feeding part will be done by you.
Wow.
I like sports and I'm like kind of like that. So the physical part was to be handled by me. My mom, though she's 75, but she's very active, touch wood. She's BSc B.Ed. She loves to teach at this age too. So now she has taken the responsibility of teaching Vivan. And Yashu, she is our niece. So she was taken the responsibility of engaging Vivan in everything. So this is how we started our journey. And all our focus was on Vivan. And the main thing was the main purpose was Vivan and nothing else. So that's how it started.
Wow, nice to know you have an amazing support system. So yeah, we'll unfold many more things further. Before that, I would love to know from you, Manisha ma'am, what made you come into special ed?
So before joining special education, I was a regular mainstream teacher. I started my journey back with ECCA training, that is training for the children in the pre-primary schools up to the standard 2nd or 4th in India. Based on that teaching, they were teaching us the development of the child. I remember I was in my early 20s. I had just touched 20s, absolutely unknown of how a child develops. So the whole curriculum was designed from the time of conception to the time the child is delivered, how is delivered, and what are the developmental stages that a child will encounter. In one of those sessions, our teacher mentioned something that if those developmental stages are not seen in the child is said as special child. And that was my first encounter with the word as special children. I might have seen 1 or 2 children prior to that, but I did not know that they even go to school. They have the capability to learn. As I myself was very young, I did not know a world like that exists. Sitting in that particular classroom, I had this feeling in me that if any time I'm given this chance to become a special educator, I would just go into it. At that time, I did not know special schools exist. There are special courses for being a special educator. I was absolutely unaware of all of those things. Still, I had the longing in my heart that every teacher would want to be a mainstream teacher, teaching a particular subject, mastering a particular subject. But over here, my focus was not to master a particular subject. My focus was that the child should be helped. And I felt that special education, being trained in a special education was my area. And after 2 years of doing ECCA, I got an opportunity wherein I was interviewed to be admitted in B.Ed Special Education. So I completed my B.Ed in Special Education, particularly in autism spectrum disorder. And I have been working since then.
Fantastic. Wow, I like this inclination towards children because, yeah, I do understand dealing with children who are neurotypical it's not easy, but it's any day easier than children who are neurodiverse. So fantastic that you have taken this on you and you love what you're doing. Fabulous. Now, let's come to the main question. Why do you think and what is the difference between a special school and a mainstream school. First and foremost, I would like to know from you, and I would like to know the parents' perspective as well. So I will come to you, ma'am. First, let's hear it from you.
So when we speak about mainstream education, the whole and sole focus would be on developing the child on academics. We would want the child to be first in the class and go for higher studies, clear HSC, SSC, and go for higher studies. So main focus is the academics. The child should develop academically. We have certain areas wherein the child will be trained for physical training, the child will be trained for social skills, a little bit of public skills, all those things would be there. But the main focus when a parent admits a child into the mainstream school is the academic excellence of the child. That is exactly opposite to why we should go for a special school. When we talk about special school, we are creating a curriculum or we are creating a focus exactly on the child. So special schools are basically children centric. Each child is being examined. The curriculum is made according to the requirement of the child. So we don't just focus that the child should be able to learn A to Z by the age of 5 years, or he should be able to spell 3-letter words by the age of 5 years. That's not the goal. We rather see when the child is identifying the particular letter or not, whether he is able to relate that the same letter that you read on the book is there on the board also, it's there on the TV also, it's there on the toy also. So we see what is the development or what is the level of the child wherein which he can learn. So when we say special schools teaching, we are not just focusing on training the child on academic basis. We will train the child on a daily life skill also, trying to make him independent. We'll train the child for physical training also, ensuring that whether the child has fine motor skills or not, whether he has gross motor skills or not. We ensure whether the child requires any other therapies, maybe speech therapy or occupational therapy. We would see whether the child requires any special modification in the classroom so that he can settle well in the classroom. So over here in special schools, we are seeing what is the requirement of the child. When the child's requirement is marked on, based on that, the whole classroom or the whole learning environment is created so that the child learns the best. Wherein if we see the mainstream school, we would have a classroom of teachers, a classroom of children and one teacher catering to 20 to 30 to 40 children. Over here, the number of children in the classroom will be less. The focus will be on the child. And when the focus is like that on the child, the amount in which the child will show growth is very high. In special education, in special schools, we also see that the curriculum is not just given by the institution. We take into consideration the parent, we take into consideration the therapist, we take into consideration all the people that are coming in contact with the child, and then we develop a program. So over here in special schools, the whole community or the amount of people, all the number of people who are there who connected with the children, we are working together for the development of the children. So it is very focused, I would say, very child-centric.
And one more question would be, what do you suggest? So, is a special school for all children on the autism spectrum, or is it pertaining to the child? Supposedly, every child on the autism spectrum is different.
Okay.
The needs are different.
Yeah.
So, there are certain children who might not need a special school. So, what's your take on this? All children on the autism spectrum need special school, or?
Not necessarily. So it depends on what the assessment says. We should, as parents and teachers, we should follow the diagnosis and assessment which is given by the specialist. Based on the assessment, if the child does not show the capability to sit in a general classroom, let me give you an example. If there is a child who has a lot of, he has hypersensitivity, wherein even the slightest of the sound that the child hears in his ear, it multiplies and it's heard to him. If we place such a child in the general classroom, it will be difficult for the child. In the same way, if the child who is 10 years old, but he has the cognitive capability to perform like a 14-year-old child. If we keep that child into the general classroom, that would be okay. So it completely depends on what is the need of the child. If the child specifically requires to be in a special school, he should be admitted into special school. And if the child can, with little bit adjustments, little bit modification in the general classroom, if he can adjust well in the general classroom, maybe with the help of shadow teachers, maybe with the help of other peers who understand him, if the child can settle like that in an inclusive classroom, well and good. But it entirely depends on what the child requires.
Thank you. Thank you for the clear answer. It well answered the question. Over to you, ma'am. So, from your end, I would just love to know as to you started education for Vivan. So, did you try the mainstream school first, or did you directly just go for a special school? And in both, I want to know your experience.
Yes, I definitely tried the mainstream school first because I always thought that he has just having delayed milestone. So maybe he will recover. But my experience was not that great because the main thing was he was being bullied, and like there were social events, like there's a birthday party or everything. Believe me, he is autistic, but he understands if he's being ignored. Like if he wants to go near the cake, it's okay. It's difficult to handle. I can understand he has his issues, but a teacher can take care of that. So if he is being ignored, so he was having that issues, and he used to feel very frustrated. Now the main reason that I shifted to the special school was because I wanted my child to be happy. My main goal is not that academics will come, and I definitely want my child to be good in academics too. That's my wish. But when we visited the special school, we were like, okay, like just like parents, let's give it a try. We just went to ma'am and we just visited the school, and like the whole vibe it just changed, because the children and the teachers, the manner in which they were mingling, it was not looking, like if I look at his ma'am, Vinayful ma'am, it doesn't look as if she's a ma'am. We are having such a rapport with them that we feel that we are a part of it. And main thing is, my child, he needs inclusion, and rest will follow. And the other thing is also about safety, because as they say, these special teachers, they are quite trained. So like imagine if my child, he's not having a biting issue, but supposing if other child bites, they know how to take care of it, and the other child is also not being punished, and my child is also being protected. So he's developing that empathy. Yes, that child is biting, it's okay, teacher is there to handle him, it's not my job. I think reverse. I think even my child needs empathy about inclusion. When I talk about inclusion, it doesn't mean because I have an autistic child I want to send him to a school. No, but when my child grows up, even if he's fine, if he finds an autistic child, I want my son to say it's okay. It's just an issue. We will fight it out together. I will help you. That is true success for me. That's what I feel.
Well put across. Okay, next. How does a typical day, supposedly Vivan has come into school, how does a typical day in a special school look like?
Over here in Priyan Special School, we have children, divided the number of hours that the children attend in school depending on how much capability they have. So if one child is able to come for 4 hours, he is coming for 4 hours. If they are able to come for 1 hour, they will not settle, we allow that. So that much accommodation we have made. If the child is coming for a full day to the school, we would start the day as we would start in every general school. We would start a day with an assembly. The children are try to make them understand the concept of praying or singing a song. Every day singing national anthem, so they understand, okay, this is national anthem and this is how we stand for the national anthem. Then we divide the rest of the day into academics, into sports, into dance music therapy, that is DMT, and any other therapy, special therapy session the child has the requirement for. So when we say academics, for a child as young as Vivan, 4 years old, we would just try to build his fine motor skills, make him develop eye-hand coordination, make him just pick up one thing and put it into other. Basic identification of what is big and small. All the precursors that are required for academic skills, that would be done for a child as young as that. That session would go on for half an hour to 45 minutes. In that particular session, because we say it's a academic session, we also train the child to sit in one particular place. So that is, sitting tolerance is what we inculcate in the child. Not just he has to sit in that particular place, he has to also pay attention. Attention skill is developed. Apart from that, we would develop basic social skills, like the child is supposed to pick up his notebook and put it in the bag, identify his crayon and put it into the crayon box. So when these things are developed, when the child grows, we can use that particular skill into building independency for himself. So that particular session will cover up all the academic skills. In that particular session, we would have 15 minutes separately for the child to have a snacks break. So we train the child independently to take the food. We also train the child to go to the washroom, take a break like that and come. When we talk about physical activity, we would ask the child that make the child learn the difference between running and walking, jumping, picking up. So when we are doing picking up activity, we would ensure different color things are there. So color theme is also being introduced. The cross motor development of the child we are taking care of. The child on the spectrum, they generally don't know the term weight. So one of the major focus when we talk about the sports or the physical training is ensuring that the child learns to wait for his turn. Once they are waiting, after that they are going to get whatever they want. So it is very easily taught during games or during activities in the physical training, and then we take the concept of waiting to daily living as well. So we have physical training, then we would send the child for DMT. Now, DMT and sports, these two are areas wherein the child gets to have a lot of group interaction. Children on the spectrum, social skill is one of the area that they really need help for. So, if the child is very good in sports, we would pair the child with somebody and ask them to play with them. Now it's your turn, now it's his turn. But when we talk about DMT, we would put on rhymes, we would put on action songs. The teacher would be imitating, and the teacher would be doing the actions, and the children are supposed to imitate that. Sometimes the child is not able to, a child as young as this will not able to directly do that. So we draw the child's attention towards the teacher, give instructions while we are actually doing that. Raise your hand up, put a smile. So we identify emotion also, what's a smile. We identify directions also. We identify the whole gross motor movement of the child is being trained along with imitation skills. So that happens in DMT. In DMT, we would also see that the child identifies which rhyme is there. Some children would only perform well in the rhyme which is favorite to them. Action songs which they like. So the child is also making a choice for himself that this is my favorite song, and then once they have that liking towards that particular thing, it's easier for them to learn the actions which are there. And lastly, we would have the occupational therapy. If the child needs occupational therapy, and physical speech therapy, if the child requires speech therapy. So when we say a child as young as 4 in his age, all these things are so important because these are the basis on which the child is going to build the rest of his life. Once the neuroplasticity for these learning is done, whenever the child is growing up, he is going to use these skills so that he can learn ahead in life.
So you mean to say, as you explained to me, that there are therapies as well. So Vivan, when he has started going to a special school, how is it like? You don't have other therapists or other therapy sessions, or everything is covered in the school itself?
Everything is covered. It is holistic.
Okay.
Yeah, and he is developing quite a lot, and like his social skills have increased a lot. And we used to always take him to the mall, and we used to always take him to the garden because his autism has never stopped us from taking somewhere.
Definitely, yes.
Yes,
It
And
shouldn't also.
yes, and whenever we go to the garden, if he's not in the mood, we never say them no, he's autistic. We say okay, it's okay. Today Vivant's mood is not fine. Some days
Yeah.
we also don't
Of
have.
course.
So, but then coming to the point that what has the special school done? Like we take him out, so it's like our family, our friends. Now we cannot change the age group of ours, right? When he goes to the school, he's developing a bonding with his age group. So he is having so many friends. So now when we go out, after joining the school, when we go out, he interacts with people of his age group. So his bonding, his skills, and sometimes you know what he does, he's a very good observer. So he will just observe, and then at home he'll come and then he'll start doing that. And then you have to realize, you know, he's like a machine. We have to continuously look at him, like what is he doing, and then we have to figure it out. Yeah, acha, that he learned from there, and then you catch up on that, and then you can proceed further. So life is very easy now that way.
This is good to know that special education, special schools are really making life easier for parents as well as the child. Okay, my next question would be in your IEP program, what is the involvement of the parent? First, I want to know from you, and I would love to know from you because they preach, you are the one who is actually doing it. So, yeah, first from you.
So, involvement of parent in IEP, I would say it goes very much parallelly. Whatever is happening in the school, we would want the parent to do the same thing in the school. So, when I say it goes parallelly, it means whatever we are teaching in the school, the parent is being informed. Whatever the parent is doing with the child at home, and the child is showing that development, we are being adapting it in the school. So, when we make an IEP, we take into consideration the number of family members which are there, the background that the child comes from, what language he is familiar with, and is there any help required or help given in the house. Based on all these things, we can understand, okay, if I give instruction to the child in Marathi, maybe he would respond a little faster. Or if I say the same thing in English and then repeat the same thing in Marathi, the child would be able to develop two languages at the same time. So once we are making that plan, we are ensuring that the parent is being updated every now and then. Once the IEP is made, we make an IEP for a year long. We would discuss these are the areas we are going to cover. Then we update the parent on daily basis also. We update the parent monthly basis also. We have a report writing system when we give a report for every 6 months of the development of the child. So when I say updating the parents, it's more of like whatever goals we have set for the child is able to do this much over here. As she said, someday the child is not in the mood and he will not do the particular activity which he does the rest of the day. But then that update given to the parent that the child was not in a good mood today and he has not done this thing properly, ensure what is wrong with the child. Yeah.
What is triggered?
Yes. So it's like that the child is not just a child to the parent, but also in the school he is being treated as intricately as he was being treated at home. Yes. So we ensure who all are being interacting with the child and what kind of interaction the child is having. So when we say the child is very much loving to the mother, but the child is scared with the father. The father is little bit strict. So that kind of communication, once there is an open communication, it's easier to achieve the particular goals that we have sent in the IEP.
Over to you on the same question.
Yeah. Now, when you talk about individualized education program, I find that very nice. That is the reason for selecting special school, right? Because I am only concerned about when it comes to his milestones and everything. I'm concerned about Vivant, and the teachers are very specific to that individual child, whether it be Vivant or any child. I'm talking with reference to my child, like Vivant. Like Vivant, he might be knowing everything, but now when he goes to the school, he has to sit. So like they are saying, they tell us he's having sitting. So first our focus is कि chalo, now that is an issue, let's work on that. So now 1 week goes, then they have this very nice system which I really like. In the diary they do write ki this was done. Okay, so what happens, some even we are on an alert mode. If like once they had written ki the shadow thing was done, okay, and second day I see my child, he's doing something like this dance or something, and he is following his shadow. So it was so easy for me to figure out that, because sometimes I know it's easy for people to say you're a mom, why don't you understand that, but it is difficult because he's getting old. When he's young it's okay, you know, he wants food, he wants milk, he wants that, but nowadays it becomes very challenging. And and I feel in the special school the communication system is excellent. So it becomes very, matlab we are getting a guide now. When you get the right
It's very
direction,
transparent, so to say.
Yes.
Everything is clear.
The communication is
Yeah,
two ways
yeah.
all the time.
and like, I mean, if I say like my child, even if he has something like he has a temper issue, for example, if a ma'am just messages me that today he was not in a good mood, that's fine. I need to know. It's not that I just want that, "Arey, Vivan is great," that thing. But there's a manner of communication. We are working out on that. That makes us happy. And you believe me, whenever he comes from the school, he is so excited and he is so happy now that we forget everything. Just as that smile and that thing. So we always feel that we have done a good decision. Now rest. No.
Fabulous. Fabulous to know. So on a daily basis, how do you all connect to the parent? You just mentioned that there's a daily communication with the parent, and weekly, and then monthly, and then 3 monthly.
Yeah.
So how is that? How is it done daily? How is it done?
When the parent comes to pick up the child, if the child is doing well and good, we are okay with that. But if particular day, one small slight thing, like the child who every day eats oranges, today he didn't want to eat orange, such a minute detail, if you want to communicate, whenever the parent or the caretaker, whoever is coming to pick up the child, we would update them that today it was like this. When we say weekly, as she mentioned, we have this diary which we use as a communication between the parent and the teachers. Every 3 months we have the meeting with the parent. Our principal, she meets the parent, and yearly round meeting we keep on having. And not just that, whenever we feel, not just 3 months or yearly or six months, whenever we feel that the parent need to be updated, whether the child is doing good or the child needs any improvement which is not coming out from the other end, we would call the parent and we would talk to them, what is the issue and what is the focus that you want us to work on. So once there is a two-way communication like that, every now and then, depending on the requirement, it's good.
Great. Okay, so when we talk about special schools, so these children have a typical pattern. They have these peers that they come and meet every day. So how do you connect them with the world, and how do you develop their social skills, or how do you go about doing that?
So when we talk about children on the spectrum, we see social skill is one area and language is another area. When we say language and communication. So language, the child might not be familiar to Hindi or child might not be familiar to English. But communication is also being hampered. So when we say communication, the child is also not able to express what he wants to say. So when that communication is not there, it does not matter who is there in front of the child. It can be a friend, it can be a mother, it can be a stranger. But the child is not able to express like that. And social skill is developed considering to the same point that the child is not able to mingle in a group of people. When we have children like this in our school, we train the children for social skills development, wherein we place the child according to the group that they would follow. Generally, in a mainstream classroom, we would see all the children who are 13 years of age should be in grade 7.
Correct.
8 years of age, they should be in grade 3. But over here, not just we divide the child in the age group which they follow, but also based on how much skill or which skill the child needs to learn. Giving you an example, if the children are all of them falling under the age of 4 to 7, we would have a small group of them. But at the same time, if the child who is there in class 7, 8, sorry, who is 7 years of age, but the child has excellent computer typing skills, we would train the child in computer typing skills as well. So when I say grouping of the child in the school, we group the child based on the skill that we want to,
Not their age.
not their age, the skill that we want the child to develop. So I have a child who would be doing functional academics with me, but at the same time, whenever there is another class going on emotion or another class going on building social skills, the child would leave my class and attend that particular class whenever that class is happening. So we divide the child based on what the child rather requires. The same way it goes for sports. We say children who are not able to say walk properly, but at the same time we want to ensure that the child is able to make a goal correctly. The child is very higher in age, so we ensure that the child is placed with another children of his age, but the aim changes. It's if somebody is supposed to run, the other child should just be able to walk through the particular line that the other children are using to run. The skill is common, and we divide the children as per which skill they want to be trained in.
What about Vivan's social skills? Have they improved? What is the difference that you've seen?
Yes, social skills. Actually, we were very lucky because of our family support. His social skills were far excellent. That's actually, we are lucky also, and that was the reason why we thought ki just wait, we'll do the autism test later. But when he went to Priyan, the noticeable thing was ki he started mingling with his age group, which was one of the best thing that happened. And the sports day, I tell you, it might just be an event for their school, but we were literally crying. And nobody was sitting. We were all in tears and we were standing. And for the first time in my life, I told my sister that it's not only Vivan. We could see Vivan in each and every child, because for us, like on the autism spectrum, we can only see Vivan, right? But when we go to an event, all the children were there, and with their different issues, everything, we could make out that a guy who's doing shooting, we could see that the sense of achievement that child is having. It's not about, and for some, it was just, like she said, it was just like completing the task. A guy who was just too, I don't know his age, he was too small, and he just finished the race. But his sense of achievement was like, and almost every child had a smile on their face. And like, if you tell me that I have to make Vivan run, and like she's saying you make him stop, I really can't do that. I really can't do that. I don't know how they handle, how they manage, but like that sports day, that goosebumps, till another sports day doesn't come, we cannot forget that. And like, so social skills, like the picnic, and ma'am was like, we are just going for a picnic, and we thought it's just another day, okay, chalo, school mein ja rahe hai, sab bhej rahe, let us also send, it's okay. And the manner in which he enjoyed, you believe me, I was feeling he's a different Vivan. His videos and everything were just fantastic. And it's not about the videos, I always feel ki in this autistic children, sometimes there are important moments which you need to live with them.
Yes.
It's not ki Priyan, I never say ki my child's video is not there, because it's not, I see that he is enjoying with his friends, and I know taking a video just of one child is so difficult, so they're handling so many kids. So like, even if ma'am or teacher, someone communicates to me that today Vivan was fantastic, it's a great achievement for me. I don't need that. I have complete trust. Okay, either you have trust or you don't have trust, right? So I have complete trust. So for me, that thing is really fantastic. And now when we say a special school, the picnic idea was just fantastic, because they divided them into 3 groups. Like, what, if they would have gone for a one-day trip, my child wouldn't have gone. And to be honest, even if you like the school, andar se you feel, yaar, my child has not gone, my child is, it's not about that. You feel that my child couldn't do it. That couldn't feeling is too much nowadays, So you feel that. But then when he went to that Avi Smart Park and he enjoyed it, I was like, yeah. And then we could see The one day picnic, we got motivated that don't worry. He's 4 years old, right? Come next year, we will do the one day picnic also. So that jealousy turned into motivation. That array, come on, now we can do it. So that's what changed our life.
Where was the picnic, by the way?
We went to 3 picnics all together. See, this is a part of.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
We
will join
enjoyed
the school.
so
I'll
much.
tell you, our children went for an overnight trip to Silvassa.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we divided the children according to their age and the level of tolerance they would have to be without their parents and a comfortable environment. The smallest group, they went for a half-day picnic. That was an Avi's Smart Park. It was a small inbuilt 3D kind of a park for the children. And then the other group we can manage for the day, we went to a resort. And then the third group, we went for an overnight trip where largely we trained them for independent skills and daily living skills, and it was really good. Oh, so talking about the same social skill point that she was saying, that for our children, not just placing them in group is important. So I would give you an example. When the children are sitting in a group, as a teacher, if I have 4 children with me, in the morning I would start my class with hello Vivan, telling everybody good morning along with their name. One fine day, one of the child who is from my class, he was not there. I knew he was not there, he was going to be absent. But at the same time, his fellow classmate mentioned his name. He did not say good morning. He did not ask me where is he. He just said his name. So for me, it was like that he remembers that this boy is supposed to be a part of our classroom and he is not present today.
Yeah.
So these are the small pointers wherein we understand that the child, they are building communication, they are building social skills, even if they don't talk in full sentences or full phrases as we would do.
One thing I would like to add on.
Definitely.
Yeah. Sometimes, it's really very mysterious to understand that, like, she's a teacher, Sanal sir is a ma'am. I always have a discussion with my mom that it's like Vivan is so friendly to his teacher that we came to know on the sports day that he just goes and he hugs her, he gives high fives, low fives and everything. I say, how can a person on earth who's not knowing the name, how can you connect such a bond? And that is because in special school, the ratio is less. Now imagine if 60 students are surrounded and there's a one teacher, right? So how would that work? So it's like, the teachers and the children, their bonding is par excellence.
Me, myself, being as a teacher, as I mentioned in the beginning of the show, when I chose to become a teacher, for me, it was not a teacher-student relationship. I would rather consider each child as, what if he is my child? The same amount of mothering, nurturing and keeping an eye, observation as a mother would do, that's how, as a teacher, I would feel for my children. So when a compassionate heart is there towards, other than just being academic or other than just taking it as a job, the child grows in a very different way. We connect with all the children with a very different way.
These are the skills you need. That's I think the main thing that you need to be connected to these special children, and that's what makes the difference. As ma'am discussed, we really didn't know how did they handle children during the picnic. Let's discuss about what challenges do you all face.
Okay.
Be it daily basis, be it a scenario where there's a picnic or a sports day. So what are the challenges that you'll face? Even being a teacher, being a parent in a special school setup.
Let us start with the basic everyday routine. So we as grown adults, we would also have our choices. We would also have our days wherein we also don't want to do a particular task given to us.
Yes.
We would also have an umbrella of emotion wherein some days simply we are not feeling good or happy. So when it comes to the children, it is the same thing.
True.
It's the same thing. The only difference is we are able to manage that particular emotion or that particular choice on our own very independently, and the child cannot. So we have a day wherein the child wants to come to school. Mother has dropped the child to school, but the child does not want to do anything in the school. That is the challenge number one. The unwillingness or the difference in the mood that the child would show to not do a particular activity. Once that is there, the second point comes into place. That is, when we know that I'm not feeling good, giving an example, I would talk to a friend. I would know how I'm feeling. I'll communicate to any other person I would know on the earth. The same thing the child cannot do. The child does not know how to communicate that he is not feeling good, that he does not want to do, that he wants to go and sit and relax or sleep or XYZ. When the communication is not there from the child's end, the only way in which the child would communicate is through his behavior. So we say that this particular child has these many behavior issues. He had these many, but those behavior issues, those are the outcome of the triggers that the child has. So as teachers, one fine day on a daily, regular academic day, when we see that the child is not able to do particular thing, we would try to understand what is the trigger for that. That is where when we connect with the parent and we see why was the child behaving like this in the school. So it's a whole cycle. The child is triggered, the child shows behavior, and outcome is that we are not doing very good. Mostly, if the child is like this in the general classroom, when the child is triggered and shows a behavior, the teacher or the peers would take it in a very different way. That is the area when we say it's difficult for the child to adjust in a regular classroom. In a special classroom, we would try to find out why the child is behaving in a certain way and then act compassionately with more empathy and ensure that that particular day is taken care of. Settle all the differences that the child is having. Make sure that the child is comfortable even if he's not doing activity and just sitting in the classroom. That is one of the behavioral challenges, one of the major challenges that we would face on a regular school.
So you would allow the child to just be?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's okay. And once we allow the child to be, after some time the child by himself would come and join us. That's one difference we saw. If the child is given a puzzle to do, that day the child does not want to do the puzzle, we would just keep the puzzle aside, make him sit for some time, make the other child do the puzzle, and then ask him, give him one piece. Do you just want to add one piece over here? Don't solve the whole puzzle. Just add one piece. If the child is able to place just that one piece on that whole puzzle, it gives an assurity. Now the child is feeling little better. The one who didn't even wanted to see the whole puzzle set is now able to at least put it nicely. So for us, it's a positive point. That is one behavioral issue that we would face. Other than that, the child would not be motivated to do a particular task. Say, for example, the child does not have good fine motor grip. And we are training the child for that. The child has come in a very nice mood, not knowing that we are going to do this activity. The moment he would see that particular activity, he would start showing behavior. So we would feel that he is not feeling overall good. We give him some other activity, he is doing that. But this particular activity, the child is not able to do because the child is not able to do. So once we find an issue like that, we alter the activity so that it's easier for the child to do. If he's not able to pick a small bead from the box, it's difficult for him. We increase the size and we give it to the child. We alter it so that the differences the child is facing, the difficulties that he is facing is being taken care of. Reinforcing the child also in the same way. Say, for example, he's done that, we reinforce the child. Once reinforcement is given, all these issues, all the challenges, they mellow down a little bit.
And how do you manage during the picnic?
The picnic, I would say,
Or for that matter, sports day as well.
the picnic at events like these where we would have not just children but parents and everybody coming together, it's a learning thing for us as well. When I talk about the picnic, we have seen the children only coming to school and going back to school. Academically, he knows this. He knows to wash hands. He knows to put the tiffin in the box. That's it. But once the child is in a picnic, he's in a new environment. The child who never used to come and speak to me, he was sleepy and he just held my hand and he was pulling me towards the door that leads to the bedroom. So these are the small pointers we saw wherein the child tries to communicate. We understood what the child would like to eat. Like in the breakfast, we had nice poha, idli and paratha. Okay, my child was eating and I just went and I asked, you want poha? He said no. You want idli? He said no. I said, what do you want? Like loti. So it was a paratha. He wanted to say roti, but then he said loti. So then I made him stand up, go and get his food. So there were a lot of instances like this. wherein we also, when they were changing clothes in the morning, getting ready for the morning, we showed them two set of clothes. We asked them to choose which is the one that you want to wear, and they would choose. They want to wear this. If they want to go to the pool, and we say no, it's time to go back to the room, they would drag our hand and they'll be like 1 minute, 5 minutes. So there are many moments like this wherein it felt there was a wave of growth, not just in the children but us as well. We saw the children communicating, we saw the children making choice, we saw the children doing activities independently. Apart from school and book, the child was being seen settling in a new environment without their parents, trusting somebody else, placed in a group, following the friends who are there. It was a very nice experience. I feel for the children also, we could see them bloom in that particular overnight trip that we went for.
Have you had any experience where the child is not to be found?
That happened rather in a sports day event.
And why was that? I mean, where was the child?
The child was in school. So we were doing a rehearsal for the sports day, and all the children were sitting. Teachers were taking in charge of the activity. So once their turn was there, I asked one of the child to get up and go to the particular teacher. So I am taking care of the children who are sitting. There is another teacher who is in charge of the race that is happening. The child was very independent. You would listen how independent he was. He was just supposed to get it from one place and go to another place. I asked him, giving an example, Rahul, get up and go to this particular teacher. He did get up. But then he was so much independent, he got up and he went into the lift. And he pressed 4th floor, that is where our school is. And he went inside the school and he sat on the sofa. So we thought that I knew I had asked him to go. We thought that he would have gone to washroom because the child is independent. Whenever he wants, he would walk to the washroom. I went and checked in the washroom. He was not there. I asked the teachers who were around. They were like, no, we haven't seen. The only place that we think he would have gone was upstairs in the lift. So he was so independent. He pressed the lift button. He went, and on the sofa, he likes to sit very nicely. So he was sitting there, and half of the teachers were up and half of the teachers and students were down. So I just called one of the teachers and asked whether this particular child is there. Like, yeah, he's nicely sitting on the sofa. What happened?
So it's a good enough chain that you'll have to track. You'll have teachers at every point where.
Yeah. So rather, I would say that in most of the schools, once the teachers are there in the school, they would ask them to keep their cell phones aside. So they see that the cell phones are becoming a barrier when they are teaching the children.
This can have a complete one episode.
Yeah,
if we talk about it.
But on the other side, there are pros also for it. When teachers are divided like this, and when we know that each child has different requirement which needs to be maintained, there needs to be a constant way of communication that we can have. Over here, because we had the access to cell phones, we were easily able to communicate and say, okay, this particular child is not here, is he up? Oh yeah, he's up. That kind of accessibility is also required in this kind of a stream.
So we have always spoken about mental health of parents, how they keep themselves full, how's their cup full that they have to pour out. What about professionals? They are also individuals. They as well need their me time. They as well need to fill in their cups to pour out. So what about maintaining the mental health of professionals? We have already spoken a lot about parents. So let's take this question today.
I would say this is one of my favorite questions that I'm going to answer, because me as a professional, or I would say rather me as a person, I am quite sensitive. This is one of the reasons that I'm in the stream that I am. But I also learned that there needs to be a balance in all kind of activities that we are doing. Once a balance is there with the professional, the same thing we are going to reflect it to the parents also, to the children also. So my go-to way that I have learned is through yoga and meditation. I start my day with meditation practices. I would say, and throughout the day, I have 2 or 2.5 or half an hour of practices that I do. And those are not just the exercises that we do physically yoga, but meditation has helped me a very long way. If not just in my stream, any other person that is, I would say meditation is the only way through which we are able to take charge of ourselves. So when I say my stream is quite overwhelming. At the same time, I don't want to pass on the same thing to my family members, to my friends. Neither do I want to spend my rest of the day sitting in a therapy center with due respect. But then I feel when I wanted to take charge of my mental health, my emotional health, and overall how I am doing well, I sought out to meditation as my go-to area. It really helps on a very different level. I do yoga, which helps me physically run after the children every now and then. And when I say meditation, it calms me down in such a way that irrespective of however harsh the day has been with the children, it just mellows me down. Rather, I would say whenever I sit for meditation, it helps me connect a little bit more with my child. If one particular day the child has been so much in trouble, if I'm sitting for meditation, by the end of the meditation, I would get an answer, or rather, there would be a lot of concern why the child was behaving like that and what can be the solution for this kind of problems. Sometimes the types of solution that we try to find outside with the help of therapies and friends and doing other kind of activities, we don't get solutions out there. Sometimes the solutions are all within us. That's what I feel. And meditation is the answer. Going in is the answer.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. So, in comparison to a mainstream school, special schools are more expensive. You agree or you don't? So, let's start with you.
I disagree.
Okay.
Because when we are going to a mainstream school, if my child, I'm talking from spectrum point of view, if my child is autistic, he needs to go for speech therapy, he needs to go for occupational therapy. The mainstream school cannot be the answer for his progress. So if I have to go to a mainstream school and I have to go to a speech therapist, I have to go to the occupational therapist, the traveling and the tiredness and the amount of money, it comes up to the same. In fact, it's much more. And it's like, I always prefer everything in one platter. Like now, if we are going here, if we tell something to the school, they will say, you go to the therapist will say, you go to the school. And like, hamara solution, what is our solution? We want to progress. I am not here to, So for me, I feel that when we put in a special school, we are rest assured that everything is taken care of. I am kind of a person that either you trust someone or you don't trust someone. And that trust doesn't mean by, they are giving something or that. It's, I have my goals. I want my Vivaan to be happy. I want him, he should have the willingness to go to school. My goals are, he should, if he's going somewhere, there has to be an improvement. Even if I know he has his challenges. So I cannot expect that tomorrow he's going and then he'll say A, B, C, D. No, that's not possible. Sorry. So I know that now he started socializing. I have my tics. So as long as my tics are being fulfilled, I really do. I feel that is safe. And going under one roof is far, far better than rather than going to places. That's my viewpoint.
Fab. Over to you.
I think this particular question is quite debatable because it differs from child to child. Some child might require these many therapy sessions. He might require support from other therapies and other schools. On the other hand, one child does not require other kind of support. Only sending him to the school would be fair enough. But rather than that, I would say it is more of an investment as compared to an expense. Okay, if the child is going to the mainstream school, the child would complete his schooling, then he would go to high school, then he would go for bachelor's and master's. All of these things culminatively would come to the same amount of expense that the parents are going to put on a special school. So in the special school, the child is going to get these particular facilities. It would be customized, it would be personalized according to the need of the child. Yes, it can be a little bit heavy on the pocket, but at the same time, the amount of progress that the child would show because of such therapies or because of such interest-based activities that the parents are putting the child into, it would be equivalent, I would feel.
Fantastic. You all have given me amazing answers today. Very to the point and very clear. So thank you so much, both of you, for being with us today.
Thank you so much for
And
having us.
yes. But thank you. Thank you for giving us such insightful information. Thank you so much.
Thank you.